Hello everyone and welcome to Takagi-san Season 3 First Impressions Episode 9. And here we have it, the long-awaited Christmas episode that we've been waiting for since the trailer. This episode is a little all over the place. There are some scenes that I have a bunch to talk about, and there are some scenes that I have omitted entirely because they bring nothing to the table. But now that I think about it, Culture Festival and Camping Trip had their fair share of filler as well, so it's probably not worth complaining about. The episode begins with a loose adaptation of Chapter 69, End of the Year Part 1. The dream plays out exactly the same, and then the story involves Nishikata realizing that he's on a losing streak. But that's enough manga comparison. What I find interesting about this early part of the episode is that this is the second dream Nishikata has had about Takagi this season. It even has a vague reference to their history together with the Jack-in-the-Box. This tells us that Nishikata has Takagi on his mind more often than he has in previous seasons. You could argue that the dream from episode 1 happened because of Summer Festival and that the dream in this episode is happening because he is about to go see a movie with her, but I would argue that this just means they're having more genuine experiences. The next substantial moment is the Crane Game, a segment based on the manga's 106th chapter. There are two things I want to bring up about this segment. First of all, the story explores Nishikata's desire for victory in a way that we haven't seen before. It starts when he tells himself that victory is more important to him than a couple plush he really wants, but when he loses anyway, as well as being devastated by defeat, he realizes that he betrayed his true feelings. There was a point in the show where he really would have chosen victory and regretted nothing. But this moment signifies that his rivalry with Takagi really is starting to take a back seat. The second point is how well this chapter is adapted. In the source material, Nishikata goes for the puzzle because he's too embarrassed to admit he wants the couple plush. But that would betray his character growth at this point of the anime. So here he goes for the puzzle because it's the easiest path to victory, something far more in line with his motivations. For now. You know, I can't think of a single thing the showrunners have changed in adapting Takagi-san from the manga that isn't so much better. All this hard work has resulted in a rare adaptation that exceeds the quality of its source material in every aspect bar sheer amount of content. I love that the special gift for couples is a set of figurines that fit together. I think it's very cute that Nishikata and Takagi now have two halves of a whole thing in their possession. I also find it interesting that Nishikata got Kyunko and Takagi got Aikyo. Despite Nishikata trying to identify with Aikyo and use him as inspiration to get Takagi back, he has definitely always been more of a Kyunko in this rivalry. The parts of the film we get to see are pretty general and mostly exist to set up later parts of the episode. This is all except for the film's climax, which appears to be a confession scene between Aikyo and Kyunko. All I have to say about this climax is, please be foreshadowing for the film. We then get an adaptation of the manga's 114th chapter, Types. This means I called a Types adaptation but was wrong about the trailer shot I used to make the prediction. The only real noteworthy part of this story is the ending, with Takagi admitting that she wants Nishikata to think she's cute. But the thought is ultimately interrupted by the lights coming on. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting a little tired of the whole risque declaration gets distracted from thing. Maybe because this declaration isn't any more substantial than the one from Culture Festival? I can imagine a line like this being a highlight in Season 1, but in Season 3, I'm just hoping to see more. For example, the following gift exchange scene. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a loose adaptation of End of Year Part 2 or not, but if it is, it blows the source material out of the water. Nishikata's gift for Takagi is so personal, and the flashback to Ice was a really nice touch. This also acts as another critical hit moment for Takagi, a moment where she is so overjoyed that she can barely maintain her composure. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be the definitive critical hit moment of the series, as that scene traditionally comes in a season's 11th episode, but if this is what we get, I'm happy with it. I also like that Takagi's gift to Nishikata is a callback to knitting, and makes good on that foreshadowing I picked up on that Nishikata might appreciate a gift like this. The card exchange part of the episode is interesting. Nishikata's card to Takagi is rather short-sighted. Thank you for today. Whereas Takagi's card to Nishikata is more nebulous. Thanks for another fun year. This makes sense when you take into account the way they view their relationship with each other. Nishikata is not yet at a point where he can consider a longer-term relationship. His friendship with Takagi is a day-by-day affair, which is why it makes sense for him to thank her for this single day. Takagi, on the other hand, is hoping for something more intimate and long-term. She values her relationship with Nishikata and sees all the growth he's doing. Hence, she thanks him for the entire year. So that's episode 9. Not so much progress in the relationship between our main pair as it is expressing that relationship in different ways. But the primary advancement is usually saved for the finale. Here's hoping that the next couple of episodes will live up to this one and that the finale is something worth getting excited over. That's all for this First Impressions video. I'd like to thank my patrons: Orion Tran, Lars Espen, Data52, Jaman5, Lemon Shark, Pixcalibur, Alberto Cruz, Tyler Bennett, Tenka, Jeremy Pashik, Fireclaw, Soren, Christopher Wang, Will, Mario, Luke Stewart, and Ignacio. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.